This conference will now be recorded.
So it is mandatory now to use the break keyword in the case. You may not have the body part of it, which is above the break. Above the break, you will have a number of codes as part of the case block. It is not compulsory to have the body part of the case, but you should have the break part. If you have a body and you do not have the break, for example, it will show you a syntax error. You must need to understand that. Okay, it will show you this red underline. So you should have the body, which is called the body before the break. And you should also have the break part. Then only the rule will suffice. You may choose to have neither the body part or not the break keyword. That is also fine. Okay, you may only choose to have the break keyword for the case block. That's the set of rules that are defined. As far as the default is concerned, the usage of default is not compulsory. Earlier, the default was compulsory. Now it is not mandatory to have the default keyword. Okay, but if you are using a default keyword, you will have a body part of that, which is nothing but this particular body part. Okay, and you will also need to have the base part, which is compulsory. Earlier, the default body was compulsory, the default block was compulsory, and the break was not needed. Uh, if you have a default block right now, the break is mandatory. You may not have the body part. Do not have. Now, if you basically do not want to have the body part, that is also fine, but you should have the break. You may not have the body part, but also may not have the break. This is how it is. No, the break is mandatory. For a case, the break is kind of not mandatory if you don't have a body. You don't get an underline. But for default, at least the break part. Because if you also comment the break, you will see a red underline. So based on that, I'm going to basically change the behavior of the uh, understanding. The switch statement can be used when we have multiple events based on certain functions. Okay, the difference between switch and if is that and if specifiers can take comparative operators using value or a function as an argument of if, but in switch we can pass an argument which can only extend numbers of no function. And this is the argument of switch. Uh, this is the body of case one. Body of case needs to use needs to use break keyword if they use body. Okay, so and the third part of it, if there is no body, you may not use. That is now the behavior of the case part. You might have a body of case. Body of case uh, does need needs, I would say, needs to use the break keyword if there is a body. If there is no body, you may not use break keyword. That's the difference in the rule that has started from the latest versions of your computer vision of your Visual Studio. And if you have earlier version, 2017 or something, where the internal patch which is released and that gets updated automatically. Right? I will take this part and copy it in all the case points. So this is also the default. I will write down a couple of things first of all. First, the default part is not consistent. Now it is not consistent. Okay. conditions. There can be body of default, and if there is, and if there is body of default, there should be a break. Okay. And therefore, if there is no body of default, break keyword is still. That is how it works. And this is predominantly the say the switch statement value argument value is matched with each case statement. If the switch argument value matches with the case argument, then the body of that case will get executed. If none of the case argument values matches with the argument, and there is a default, the default is not compensated. And if there is the default bot, the default part, the default bot is in the case. That is what I want to add out. The case body should have the break keyword, and if there is no break, it will show compilation. The break keyword has to be as the last. The case body should have the break keyword if there is a case body. If it has no break, it will show compilation here. The break keyword has to be last. The default should also have the break keyword, else will show compilation. The body of default is not compulsory, but break is compulsory. Default portion is optional. So based on the changes in the root, that is what I have changed out here also. You need to understand. This was the program that we actually created in order to understand the concept of grades that will be given based on the numbers. Because program number one, it says that the number is equal to 5, which is basically not defining any of the cases. Okay, and there is no default also. So what is the result of this? Under this particular situation, what is going to happen? There will be no result in the console. That is what is going to happen. Save it and debug. Because right now default part is not compulsory. So there's no default part at this point of time. And none of the case matters.
Hi Kaushik, this is Nisarga here. Your voice is breaking, it's not that clear.
Is it fine now?
Yeah, now it's better.
Your voice is breaking. Check up your network, Nisarga. Because
No, I
breakage
checked
happens
with
because of either
Varsha
the
also, like, I don't know whether others are having the same problem or what.
what about others? Is my voice breaking? Just let me know.
Yeah, hi Kaushik, Azhar here. Yes, Kaushik,
Yeah.
your voice is breaking.
Okay. Just a moment. Okay, I'm going to connect with my mobile and let me know if the mobile is also having a problem. This is a broadband connection cable. This is a problem. The other network. Address भेजना आंटी तुमको Am I audible now? Is the voice clear?
Yeah, now it's clear.
So if you look at this particular aspect, I hope this is last. To understand this, there will be no cases matching, so, and there is no default. I got to understand there is no default. The default is not mandatory. Under the case matches, so you will not be able to see any kind of results out here. So now let's say I have a default. And default means you should have the brake. Brake is compulsory. Even if there is no body. Here, if there is no body, you will not have. Here, brake is like mandatory. Here also, the default brake is mandatory. If the case is having no body, you may not have to brake. Here, if the body is not there, the brake is still coming. So let's see. None of the case matches. The default will be executed. So if I put in something else like your zero also, none of the cases. In this particular behavior, still you will see that the default will execute and the print out of the field as defined in the print line, right line command of the default block. So that's the difference between let's say one case matches. This case matches one coming this case. The commenting and uncommenting is possible also. Control K, Control V. Here the commenting part is Control K, Control C. So right now case one will work, and if there is no body, no breakage. But if there is body, you may only have the break part. But this case matches obviously the excellent part. Okay. Now you have so this was passing on a number, but but rules have been switched. This is basically grading. This is not now one optional. This is mandatory if there is a body part. If there is no body, it is not mandatory. So now the grading basically is passing on the character value. This particular case matches. This excellent is from the our below. So if we differentiate these two programs, so here is the default. Here I will going to create new default. This is how the switch statement can be used as far as your conditional statement is concerned. Now let's move over to the loop statements. So for that, I will create a new particular. So move to the starter project. Is, so let's look at first of all the while. Call this as while. Class name is while. I have not changed anything else. You can see that it is still program.js. The class file will take the name of the C sharp file. I'm just changing from class program to class. Now, the first thing that we need to understand is while loop is concerned, uh, is understanding objects. So, first of all, why would you use a loop statement? Loop statements are used when we have repeated. In other words, we can say that. In other words, we can say that if we are repeating codes and the codes gives uh, if the code gives I would say code is giving you code gives you uniform uh, increment rate or decrement rate result. It is better to use the loop statement. So there are different kinds of loops also. Loop statement. And the different kinds of loop statements I can take like this while loop, and then we have something called as the do while loop, and we have the for loop, and we have the for. we speak about the while loop. First of all, uh, loops should have an initial value, and this initial value, which will be matched with condition is good. If the conditional statement is Boolean true, loop will execute, and the moment the conditional statement it will be Boolean false, the loop should terminate. So, so it's a typical behavior that the loop should have initial value, and this initial value is to be matched with the condition. If the conditional statement is Boolean true, loop will execute, and the moment the conditional statement is Boolean false, loop should terminate. Now that means behavior is what? Uh, we need to see that the condition, condition statement should be defined in such a manner that it becomes false, becomes Boolean false after we get the desired. So it should become, so it is a very important statement which I am telling you. So if you're not understanding, please let me know. I'm saying that we need to see that the conditional statement should be defined in such a manner it becomes Boolean false after we get the desired result. And it is required to have Boolean result as false for the conditional statement in order to terminate the loop. Infinite looping happens if the Boolean condition, the Boolean condition is true. Condition, and that is not true. Infinite looping is not. And infinite looping is not good as it takes resource space. So when I say resource space out there, nothing but your memory. The memory space of your computer. Another takes up resource space. Ultimately, eats the whole resource. Thus, ultimately eats the whole, thus hanging the system. So that is why you should not have. This is a general basically behavior of loop statement. So It is not only for while. Basically, the generalized statement as well as any loop statement also should have an initial value. The initial value which we map with the conditional statement, the conditional statement is boolean true, loop will execute, and then the conditional statement is false, terminal. So it is necessary to check that the conditional statement at some point of time becomes boolean false after we get the desired result. Because if it is not turning to boolean false, then what is going to happen? Go for infinite system. Infinite it is not good because it takes a memory space and ultimately eat up the whole memory. Thus, hanging the system is nothing but the sometimes wasting hours and that not forward. System. So that's how the. So let's now define the let's now define the value. The first thing I would say that have you ever thought of that when I will use a while loop, or when I use a do while loop, or when I use a for loop? So let me tell you the while loop issue is under situations when we have ambiguity in understanding how many loops the program. So while loop is used under only those situations when we have ambiguity. Ambiguity means also confusion in understanding how many loops the program. That is where we use it. Because of this reason, because of this ambiguity, while loop is much more prone, will be much prone to showing infinite loops. So I'm saying much prone. The probability of getting infinite loops with while loop is much more, or highest, because of the fact that uh, we do have ambiguity in understanding how many loops it becomes. Since we have ambiguity in understanding, and that is the reason why we do a while loop. And since we have that ambiguity, obviously, what's happening is that we definitely see that the while loop goes for infinite looking much more in comparison to other loops. So let's do one particular thing. So the syntax, the syntax available, there is just while we have the argument while and we have the body. This is the simple behavior of how a body is created. And also write down that there will be initial statement to define the initial value. And I can define the initial value also. And then first statement the outside of the while block. So there will be initial statement to define the initial value. The Roman 1. Roman 2 will be, there will be continuation. So this argument is and third part is may or may not implement these things that could be defined in the body. Another note I will tell you, there should be proper synchronization between initial conditioning and implement or decrement to get the desired result. So move to the after getting this, that's a very important statement which will hold true for 2, 1 and 4. So there should be proper synchronization to this initial, conditional and decrement, so that you get the desired result as you wish to do. And after you get the desired result, it should terminate the cycle. After you get it. Okay. Now, let's understand the working behavior of it. First, uh, for the for the first loop to work, first loop to happen. The first loop, the initial value is checked with the conditional. The initial value is checked with the condition. If the condition statement is true, the body of y gets executed. And the body of y will contain anything, including the implementation. Okay. If the if the if the conditional statement is Boolean false, the first loop will not. Third point is that for subsequent loops, to happen, conditional statement should fetch Boolean. Otherwise, divided it. So that's the working behavior of your loop while loop. Okay, now let's understand some programming behavior. Now, first of all, the first program that I basically will take up would be the program of not using the word, not using the loop statement. That is the first thing you see, not using the loop statement. The program number one per se would be to print out from 1 to 5. So let's do the particular analysis. Now, if I don't use the loop statement, two things that you are going to see. The repetition of codes, first of all, okay, and you will see a uniform implementation of the file because I need to print out the 1 to 5, 1, 2, 3. So there will be repetition of code because I'm not using the loop statement, and there will be uniform implementation of the data. Uniform implementation means not is nothing but as far as this program is concerned, it means it will print out 1, 2, 3, in steps of one. There is a uniform implementation from 1 to 2 to 3. That is what uniform implementation means. So let's basically I have to define a particular variable. Start with 1. And I have to basically do a print out of it. So let's say like one is value of the coordination of the. So this will basically print out what? This will print out 1. I want to print out 1 to 2. The implementation. I can use this or I can use or I can use the compound. As you wish to. But all these are nothing but implementation. So after implementation, the value of A is A equal to what is the earlier value of A? Earlier value of A is equal to 1. When I do a console.println, then it has printed out 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5. So I have to basically use this code here. And this is the repetition. Now the value of now the value of A is 2. Again plus 1. It's going to be equal to 3. This is going to print out. Okay. And if print out 4 and 5, this will be nothing but A is equal to 3 plus 1. This will be equal to 4. Print out the value of A. And the last value that I need to print out is 5. So with that, we print out 1. Let's do this. This value of A is equal to 4 plus 1 is 5. We need to get the value of 5. This is the desired result that we want. Okay, but in order to get the desired result, how many lines of code you have written? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 lines of code just to print out 1 to 5. If I tell you please print out 1 to 100, you will have to write down 200 lines. Okay, let's look at the result. The result will not be a problem. So I'm getting the desired value. But the problem, I'll tell you what the problem is here. Problematic area is you are writing 10 lines of code just to print out one result. There is repetition. Every time you repeat the code, it's taking this space. You're actually, wasting on this space. And the last point that I can say is that more number of codes is equal to more complexity. I don't know how many guys are engineers out there, and whether these at this point of time, since I think most of you have passed out a couple of years back, I don't know you have read about the Machabe's complexity. Machabe's complexity is a theorem which I have been taught in engineering, which states that when you use that particular formula, it will give you the complexity of the program. Now, remember one particular thing, the complexity of the program is directly proportional to the number of codes. So here, if you look at the number of codes are 10, so just printing out 1 to 5. So obviously the complexity of the program is high. So when I say complexity of the program, what do you mean by that? It means if you have some problems in this program, the debugging becomes a headache. Because more lines of code means you have to debug each and every line. So what is the result of each and every line? And right now it is 10 lines. So let's say I tell you to print out to 1 to 100, you have 200 lines of code. And if you have a problem in those lines, 200 lines, you got to find out where is exactly the problem. Or they are able to debug each and every line. So more codes is equal to more complex. And the complexity is actually calculated by using the mathematics. There's a theorem and the formula for that. And if we are more complexity, the debugging becomes difficult and takes up more resources. Now, we also say that if a programmer has written more lines of code to arrive a particular design, the programmer is not considered good. Programmer is considered good when you get the desired result with minimal. So there's a question out here. If you read the question, please mute background noise. Check out who is basically having a background. Mm, okay, let's go ahead. Right. So this is the problem with the code. You're getting the desired result. In order to get the desired result, you have more lines of code. More lines of code suffices to the fact that the complexity is more. If the complexity is more, it suffices to the fact that debugging becomes difficult and rectification. And if you have more lines of code, you are not considered. Now, as far as this particular coding behavior is concerned, you will see there is repetition of code. How many times it is repeated? One time, two times, third time, three times repeated. And if you have repetition of codes out here, obviously you have to understand that this will be a typical scenario for a loop state. 1 month. Okay. So let's write the same program with loop statements. I will use a while loop. I have also told you one particular thing. The while loop is used under situations in which we do not know how many loops the program should be going. As far as this program is concerned, we know how many loops it should go. I know it. But still, I am showing you the usage of while loop. But in the real-time scenario, if you tell me to write this program in real time, I will not use a while loop. I will use a for loop because I know how many loops it should go. If I know how many loops it should go through, I will just use the for loop instead of using the while loop. Now, why would I avoid using a while loop? Because I do not know how many loops it should go through. So that is the reason I will use a while. But as I told you, since I have that ambiguity in understanding how many loops the program has to go through, it is much more prone towards going for a infinite loop. So be careful by using while. It is much prone in comparison to for and do while to go for a infinite. still at this particular program, at this point of time, I will use a while loop. So let's use a while loop to do the same. Use the while loop. I'll differentiate the result. Okay. Using the loop statement. Program 2 is basically the print out same. So for a loop statement, while loop, for example, the syntactical behavior is that you gotta have the initial value. So let's have the initial value. So I have to print out one first. That would be the initial value. So this is configured as the initial. It's considered as the initial statement, and then I have a while. And this is the conditional statement. The conditional statement gives you a boolean. Okay. Now the conditional statement should be defined in synchronization with the loop statement. Okay. And so that you get the desired result, and then after getting the desired result, the while loop should turn. So what should I get? This should be less than equal to 5. Can I give that? Yes, I can give that. Why? Because the initial value will be checked with the condition. What is the initial value of 3? 1 is less than equal to 5. That is the first condition being checked. And this is Boolean true. So as this particular comparative operator is concerned, I'm basically saying that this is Boolean true. Boolean true. So if it is Boolean true, what will happen? The compiler will go inside the while body. So that is what I've written, that for the first loop to happen, the initial value is checked with the condition statement. The condition statement, the body of while loop getting. Whatever is the body of while. So let's write down when it goes inside the while loop. I wish basically for it to print out the value of b. So value of is plus b. Okay. Now if I, let's for example, so I leave it at this point of time. I leave the result, I leave the program at this point of time. Like this. What is the result that you expect? Want the result control vector to run the results. See, if you see the value of b is constant at 1, and this is infinite. And the infinite looping is happening, which will take up memory space unfortunately behind my computer. And this is infinite looping, which is happening because there is a desynchronization between the conditions and the logic that you have created. That is why there is infinite. The value of b is 1 for each loop. And infinite looping also means at no point of time the conditional statement is becoming false. You have to terminate it. Okay. So what is the problem with this? At no point of time the conditional statement is becoming false. That is why the value of b always remains 1. And since the value of b always remains 1, the conditional statement always gives you a Boolean statement as true. And since it is giving true, it is going inside the body of while infinite number of times and printing out the value of b is 1. This is a typical statement or make you understand this is infinite. So the infinite looping is happening because there is a desynchronization between the initial statement, conditional statement, and the logic statement. Because of which infinite. And that is why if you look at, since the condition to is never becoming false, the value of b remains 1 and it is always less than equal to 5. That is why it always goes inside the while body and always executes the value of 1 for each loop. So here, what is going to happen? This is, this the condition statement. So above the value of b remains 1 and the condition always, and that is why this is one behavior factor. So if you have an infinite loop based statement, there are two ways to rectify it. One rectification is rectify the logic. The other rectification is that I don't know how to rectify the logic. I will comment it. So if I don't comment this out, I will not be able to compile the rest of the code which are written. But at this point of time, I will not rectify. Now let's go to the next behavior of this. So using the loop statement, program number 3, still printing out the value of 1 to 5. I'll show you other behavior of getting it. Why would I get again? So let's see. Okay. My user value. When I say that C is less than 6. So the initial value, this is the initial value. This is checked with the condition. Let's check the condition. Is 1 less than 6? This is less than 6. Okay. Let me do let's print out the value. So this will print out the value again of C equal to 1 and this will never become finite. It will never become Boolean true. Make it as a finite. Then, so I told that I'll show you another way to do it. So I will change the condition. Hmm, one is always, and here I will basically give implementation. I've always told you there should be synchronization between initial statement, conditional statement, and the logic of the code to give you the desired result and also make this condition as false to terminate the run. After getting the desired result, you should have a termination. Now, under this situation, what is going to happen? C is equal to 1. The initial value is kept with the condition. Condition becomes 2. This will print out 1. And this will increment the value of C from 1 to 2. Now, this 2 is checked with the condition because right now the value of C is equal to 2. So, 2 is checked with the condition. This 2 greater than 0. The condition still becomes Boolean true. So it will go inside the for loop for the second time and print out the value of C equal to 2, increment the value. Now 3 will be checked with the condition. So basically, not. The condition becomes 2. The computer compiler will go inside the while body and first thing it will do is print out the value of C. After printing out C, the another body line is to increment the value of C from 3 to 4. 4 is checked with the condition. And you print out the value of the 4 is checked with the condition becomes 2. out the value of 4, increment the value. Now, do you see after implementations, if you increment to certain level, we continue. At any point of time, for any value of C, the condition becomes Boolean false? Never. This is another example of infinite loop where the desynchronization between initial statement, conditional statement, and the values. This is again code for going to infinite loop. Now, the only difference between this infinite loop and this infinite loop is that this gives you the printout of B equal to 1 for each loop. The value of B remains constant to 1 for each loop that the while loop is going through. But here, the while loop is going through infinite definitely, but the value of C will be not stuck at 1. The value of C will keep on incrementing from 1 to 2, 2 to 3 until infinity. So let's run this particular code. Control F5. And here you see C value is incrementing. At no point of time the condition is false. Everything is greater than 0. It is infinite. I have to terminate it. Okay. This is another example of infinite looping because of desynchronization between initial statement, conditional statement, and logic. So either I have to rectify my deed, rectify the logic of the code, or I have to comment it. At this point of time, I will comment it so you can look at it. Okay. Now, what is the exact program you should have? That I will show you. But you get the desired result, you do not get it. I will introduce one, one loop. You should define the conditional statement right now. The conditional statement is that D should be less than 6. And then you do control that pipeline value. And then you increment the value. If I do not increment the value, it will again go for infinite. Because the value of D will remain 1. If you go for implementation but you will not define the condition properly, then you still go for infinite. So the value of D will keep on incrementing 1 to 2. This is a typical scenario in which we get the desired result. And after getting the desired result, the Boolean condition becomes false and then terminates. So let's understand how does it become false. 1 is less than 6, condition is true. We print out the value of B equal to 1, increment the value of this to 2. This is the result of the first. For the second loop to happen, the incremented value is checked with the condition. The incremented value is checked with the condition. The condition still remains true. We go for the second loop, we print out the value of B equal to 2, increment the value of B to 3 for the second. Now for the third loop to happen, the current value of D is 3, that is checked with the condition. If 3 less than 6, the condition becomes to print out the value of D equal to 3, increment the value of the third loop of D equal to 4. Now 4 is checked with the condition. If 4 less than 6, the condition is still good for the fourth loop. Print out the value of D is equal to 4, increment the value of 5 of the 4. Now this 5 is checked with the condition. 5 less than 6, condition is true. We go for the fifth loop, increment the value, print out the value of 5, increment the value of D to 5 of the fifth loop. And then this incremented value of 6 is checked with the condition. 6 less greater than 6, so 6 is less than 6. This is where the condition becomes false. When the condition becomes false, while you will terminate. So you got the desired result, and you also terminated the value after the result. There has to be synchronization between the initial, conditional statement, and the logic. Let's run this. I get the result. This is program number one in different ways. To show you infinite looking and to show you also or without using. So let's go to another program right now. So for example, this will be program. Okay. Let's say I'll tell you to print out from one. Now, when you get a program, you've got to analyze the program. Print out from 100 to 1. If you start from 100, I will go decrements to 1. So, what are the initial values that you have to keep in 100 to 1? The initial values that you have to keep that becomes the initial value. So, this initial value has to be kept. So, the condition is that we should be greater than equal to 1. Enter this particular condition. The condition should be true. So, for the first loop to happen, 100 should be greater than equal to 1. And this becomes Boolean. The moment it becomes Boolean true, I have to print out the value of the and if I don't have a increment or decrement statement, the value of E will still remain synchronize your initial statement to decrement the value. And right now, this or compound. Now, what will happen? So for the first value of E equal to 100, decrement the value and then 99 is checked. Condition becomes Boolean true, so the second loop will happen. Print out 99, decrement the value. Monthly condition is Boolean true, so we basically print out 98, decrement the value. This will keep on happening until the hypothesis. 3 is checked. So 3 greater than equal to 1, the condition is true. Some point of time, 3 decrement the value from 3 to this 2 is checked. Still true. So as far as the 98 loop is 98, 99, 99 is print out the value of decrement the value. This one is checked. This one is true. So the body one decrement the value for the 101 loop to happen. Condition is set 101. So the 100. For the 101st loop, the value of E is equal to 0 is greater than equal to this point of time was while, and I'll get the decremented value from 100 to 1. That's what I had. Figure number 2, 6. Figure number 4. Now, I want to print out odd numbers. To print out odd numbers between 20 to 1. Between 20 to 1. Odd numbers between 20 to 1. Or I can say 1 to 20. So at least I'll get the initial value to be checked for whether it is odd number or not. So the initial value has to be checked to be 1. And definitely I have to go for 20 loops, which will check for each number. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I have to go for 20 loops based on that equation. While if is less than equal to 20, if run the condition like this, so this is first what we require. One is now I don't want to print out the value of 1. I want to see if the value 1 is odd. Now how do you check a odd number? Odd numbers are something which is not implemented. That means odd number is something which can be varied by 2. Does be varied. Odd numbers will be varied by 2 will be varied. So if I see there is a remainder, we see a remainder, then it is an odd number. Because when you divide a number by 2, there is no remainder. The remainder is 0. If the remainder is 0, it's an even number. So anything divided by 0 is divisible. The remainder will be 0. If the odd number you divide by 2 gives you a remainder, it's going to be the odd. That is what we are. How to pick up if the number is odd. If the number is odd, it continues. If inside the bracket, if variable f, what is the value of f right now? 1. F percentage 2. What does percentage means? Modulus. Modulus does a division and gives you the remainder. Means equality to 0. Equality is used for what purpose? The value on the left hand side, the value on the right. equal to 0. Mm, It's not equal to. Remainder should be not equal. If the division reduces the remainder should not be equal to. Then it is odd. Then I can say that B is the odd value of. Now I don't have to basically print out even numbers. So don't be confused about even. I have to just print out odd numbers from 1 to 20. This is the first number, 1. Is 1 is to divide 1 by 2. Is the remainder not equal to 0? Yes, the remainder is not equal to 0. The remainder is equal to 1. 2 0 0 0, remainder is 1. So obviously, f is the odd number, the value of f is f. The write down into the write down f plus is an odd. Okay. Now, if I leave it at this point of time like this, the value of f will remain 1. I will always physically print out that f is 1 is the odd is an odd number. At no point of time, creating this particular logic, at no point of time, based on this logic, at no point of time, the condition will become false. Condition still remains true because the value of f remains 1. And since the value of f remains 1, the condition will never become false. This will again go for increment. So what we have to do? Outside of the while if block, we increment the value of f. So what will this do? F value is 1. 1 is less than 21. 2, we check out if it is odd or not. If it is odd, fine, write down it is odd. We increment the value to 2. 2 is checked now with the value. 2 is less than 21. Yes, it is less than 21. So this 2 division by 2 gives you a remainder of uh, 0. It gives you a remainder of 0. 0 is not equal to 0. That is Boolean false. So 0 is equal to 0. You cannot say 0 is not equal to 0. Boolean false is what? The condition is not met, the if block will get ignored by the compiler. And then we increment the value of f to 3. Now 3 will be checked with the condition. Is 3 division by 2 and the remainder is equal to 0? No, the remainder is not 0. So the remainder is not 0, it is not equal to 0. Condition becomes true, right now it is not. This is happening until unless you want to value 20 is checked with the condition now. 20 less than 21. The condition is true. We don't get inside this. Divide 20 by 2. The remainder is 0. 0 is not equal. 0 is not equal to 0 is not. If it is not equal to 0, 0 is not equal to 0. That is false. If it is false, the block of it will not get executed, getting that 20 obviously is not. Increment the value of x to 21. 21 is less than 21. This is where the condition is false. So you will get all the odd numbers you want. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, 14, 15. Program number 4. This is program number 5. Basically, like to print the summation of first 10 numbers. Starting, what do I want? First is understand. Summation of first 10 numbers. Starting with what is this question mark? So I know the initial value starting with one. That's it. Okay. Now let's put the value. First 10 numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. At this point of time, if I do control the what is the value of G? So what's the value of G right now? So what's the value of G? So right now, what is happening? G is 1. 1 is less than equal. Submission is to be print out the value of G. So this is not a what. Want the summation. So it means summation of 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 2 40 times. Now when I do not add the numbers, what is the value? When I do not have any numbers to be added, what is the value? When I do not have any numbers to be added, what is the value? And when I have added, the value has to be kept to a variable. So I have integer sum. What is this integer sum? The integer sum is nothing but a variable which will hold summation. And why did we initialize the value as sum equal to 0? Now sum variable is initialized to 0 with the fact that okay, now this will only print out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people. Not selection. Now what we need to do is that what is the initial value of sum? Initial value of sum is 0. I will add to this the value of and this added value will be kept in the summation immediately. Done. And then I want to print out the value of sum. Now let's now do it. At the point when the value of g equal to 1 and is less than 10, we print out 1. What will this happen? The value of sum is equal to sum plus g. What is the initial value of sum kept? 0. So 0 plus what is the value of g? Right now we printed out 1 equal to 1. What will this print out? 1. Now do I need an implementation or decrementation? I need an implementation because if I do not do the implemented statement, then the value of g will still remain 1. At no point of time this condition will become false. And for each infinite looping that is happening, the value of g will remain constant. So we print out the value of g equal to 1 and print out the value of always. So in order to basically use the infinity, we have to actually increment the value of g. So for the first loop, 1 is less than equal to 10, print out the value of g, sum is equal to the initial value of sum plus 1, which we just printed out, 1 print out the value of sum 1, increment the value of g to 2. Now 2 is checked with the condition is 2. What is the value of g printed out right now? 2. What is the value of sum? The earlier value of sum printed out was 1. I'll take that 1 from the memory. What is the current value of g? Now right now we printed out 2. Current value of sum becomes 3 from 1. Increment the value of g. Now 3 is checked with the condition. If 3 less than or equal to 10. Condition is true. Print out the value of g is equal to 3. Now what happens to sum? Sum is equal to what is the earlier value of sum printed out? 3. 3 out here. What is the current value of g? 3. 3 is equal to 6. And that 6 will be printed out. Increment the value of g from 3 to 4. And this 4 will be checked with it. It is sum happens to the sum between the earlier value of sum printed out 6. Add to the current value of g. 4. 6 plus 4 is 4. And that's the value of increment the value of g. 5 will be checked with the condition. Print out the value of 5. Print out the value of 7. With the earlier value of some 10. With the current value of g. 5. And that is going to be printed out the value of sum. Increment the value of 6. And 6 will be checked with the condition is true. So we print out 6. Now putting the summation value. Sum is equal to what is the earlier value of sum? 15. What is the current value of g printed out? 6. 15 plus 6 is 21. So 21 is going to be increment the value of 7 is checked with the value of g equal to 7. Condition is what is the earlier value of 10? 20. Current value of g is 8 is going to be increment the value of g equal to 8 condition is true, then the value of some will be equal to the value of some equals to 28, and the current value of G is 28 plus 20, that is going to be including the value of G to G. Now we check the condition is true, condition is equal to value of some is 32. Now this 36 is the current value of G. The value of some becomes the present value of some, derivative after that we include the value of and then we will check the without and the value of some is 45 and value of G is 10, 55, 50 of some is 55 into the value of 11, then 11 is checked condition becomes false. So let me run this particular code. Let the analysis. So you see the final value of summation is 55. But since I have put the value of G and the value of sum as part of the while body, for each loop you are getting the value of G. Value of G is 1, sum is 2, A is 2, 3, 6, 4, 10, 5, 15, 6, 21. Value of G is 7, 28, 8, 9. And that is what we actually put analyzing. So what I actually leave it is this. I did not need the value of G and sum. It was just to make you understand how it is working. I only wanted the final value of this summation, which is kept in the memory. So what will I do? I can comment this. I can comment this. Now in the memory, there is a value of sum already kept. What is the final value of sum? To it got terminated 55. It is already kept in the memory. So when the while loop terminates, you can put console.write. Which is statement within the final value. Yes. It was just to show you what is the value of stuff. G and sum for each loop. Not for 10 loop, so you get the value of G and sum. You want just the final value. So when the while loop terminates, what is the value of sum? What 55. It remains in the memory. So do a console.write of summation after the while loop terminates. It is fine. after I get 55. So if we ask you a particular question, please tell me what is the final value of G. Can somebody tell me what is the final value of G after the value? Are you guys there or just waiting mute and go? Am I audible?
Yes,
Oh,
Kaushik.
yes, Kaushik. Is it 55 also?
Final value of G. What is the value of G at which the while loop got down? For the 10th loop, the G was included to life. That is the final value. For this value of 11, the while loop got down. Want to get the final value of G? You get the at this value, the while loop. And this is also considered as the power of the right line. The power lies in the fact that where you're using. If you're using these two values inside the value, it will give you the value of G inside the value. If you put this right line outside of the value, means you're getting the final result of G inside. That's the power of using the right line. So this is what program 5 does. Program number 6. To print the multiplication of those parameters. First 5 numbers. Starting with what? What do I need? I need somebody to tell me what is the what is this question. I know the initial value. You can give the condition also. So I know that I have to multiply 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have to do it should be. If you want to get the result of age for each row, I will print out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I have to increment the age to get the value of age plus plus. This will actually print out what is the value of 1. At this point of time, if you have it, that is what I do. So what I need to do, when I do not multiply the numbers, what is the value of, when I do not multiply the numbers, what is that value? So what is the value when I do not, when I do not multiply the numbers, what's the value? When I do not multiply the value, the number cannot be zero. Because understand one thing, when you multiply everything, you get that. When I do not multiply the value, not multiply the numbers, what is the value? That should be 1. And this one value has to be equal to a variable. I'll call this as null, or initial value. This null variable will be multiplied. The initial value is 1, not putting 0, because anything multiplied with 0. Second thing is that you print out the value of age, that is fine. I actually want to multiply it null is equal to and then you can, if you want for each loop, you want to print out of bulk also. So what is 1 into 2 into 3 into 5? 1 into 2 is 2, 2 into 3 is 6, 6 into 4 is 24, 24. So for each loop we'll get the value of h, for each loop we'll get the value of mul, but the final result of mul, the multiplication of the first 5 digits. You get 1. But I don't need the multiplication multiplied value for each loop to the value of each variable. What I need to do is that have to come in each. I just need the final value of the final value of multiplication is now. So what is the final value of multiplication? 120. So after putting 120, the value of 8 is incremented to 6. And the 6 is checked for the that is 6 less than equal to next. But finally the value of multiplication is 120. That's the value. I think this is how while loop has to do. But these all programs will make you understand that how many loop you have to do. So in the real time scenario, if these kind of programs were given, I will not use a while loop. I will use a for loop. Why a for loop? For loop is generally used when you know that how many loops your program should do. That is where you use the for loop. And that is the difference between using a for and a while. While loop is used most of the time when you do not have an understanding how many loops your program will do. If you have an understanding that this is the number of times I will have to go as far as loop is concerned, I will use a for. And that is because of this particular reason, for loop goes for an infinite, it means much lesser amount of time than your while. Because in for loop, we don't have ambiguity in understanding how many loops we should do. But I'm also not saying that for loop will never go for infinite loop. For loop will go for infinite loop. But the probability of going for infinite loop of for is much lesser than the probability of a while loop going for infinite. And the probability of while loop is more because they are generally used when you have ambiguity in understanding. Okay. So when we take tomorrow, I will basically complete the rest of the loop statements. Today I just took the while loop only because I wanted to tell you that how it works for the people who are learning for the first time. How do you get an infinite looping? Why it is important to not have infinite and certain different programs. Tomorrow when I take, I will tell you the working pair of do while and for, and I'll finish it off. Any questions?
No questions, Kaushik.
Apart from Lakshmi, anybody else has any question? Ajay, Varsha.
No, Kaushik.
No, Kaushik.
No, Kaushik, I'm good.
Nisarga is not. I think she got out of the. Okay, see you tomorrow.
Yeah. Thank you, Kaushik. Bye.